Hello, this is Christian, and let's draw something interesting. Today I want to talk about isometric perspective maps and the way that I can convert between something that's top-down and something that is sort of a side-on isometric view. So what I'm going to do here is draw an island as if it is from sort of a satellite view. So I'm just go ahead and draw an island like that. And I want to put a region that I'm going to use as a mountain range, and I'll just make a simple mountain range like that. And in a top-down kind of satellite view mountain range, I would sort of have a central ridge line like this, and then I'd have some little like satellite ridge lines coming off of the mountain peaks like that. Of course, if I was doing this for real, this would be, much more interesting, much more shadowed and detailed and everything. But I go ahead and give myself a little top-down mountain range with little satellite ridges like this, okay? And now I want to do a river. So we'll do this sort of nice meandering river, kind of looking at it from a top-down satellite perspective, running down to the sea, giving it nice meander like that. Okay, so we have basic mountain range, island, river. That's all cool. Now I'm going to show you how we can take this from a satellite view and make it isometric view, which is the style of map that I usually wind up drawing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this special brush that I have, and I'll explain what I'm doing as I go. This brush here, all it does is it stamps a shape that looks like that. And I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to put one of them below, and I'm just going to make it red by isolating the alpha and filling it with red like that. So I've basically stamped this square and diamond shape. I've duplicated it, and I've got two copies of it, one down here that's red and one up here that's blue. I'm going to take the blue one and I'm going to collapse it onto the layer with the island on it so that you can see they're together, and leaving the red one still underneath in that position. And then to make everything really clear, I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to go to the blue one here, and I'm going to erase the diamond out of it like this. And then I'm going to go to the red one, and I'm going to erase the square off the red one, just to make it really obvious how I'm using this shape in order to make this transformation. So now I have this blue square and this red diamond like that from that special brush that I had. And here's where the transformation happens. First of all, let's see, I want to duplicate the island, and I'll just keep a copy of it down here out of sight because I want to go back. I want to be able to go back to it later and show the difference. I'm going to take my transformation tool right here, and it gives me these handles, and I want to grab only the middle handle, top and bottom, and the transformation I'm going to do is just going to be making this bottom point of the square match up with that bottom point of the diamond, and making the top point of the square match up with the top point of the diamond. And you might have to do it a couple times to get it to perfectly line up. That's pretty close. These are just techniques that are very basic to Photoshop, Illustrator, Procreate is what I'm using here. And I'm done with my transformation. So what have I done? Well, transformed, whoop, I've transformed the blue square into the same shape as the red diamond. And in the process, I've transformed my island from a top-down satellite view to a side-on sort of 45-degree angle view of that island. So now I can go into that island, and let's see, I'm just going to go to where my mountains are, and I can leave the region of the mountain where it is, and I don't have to go nuts and erase everything. This would all be done much more precisely if I was doing it for real, but for demonstration purposes I can then draw what's more like my isometric perspective kind of mountains into this mountain space, kind of like this. So I have this ridge line that's going to come down like that. Now I'm drawing the three-dimensional kind of mountain with all my little ridge lines coming off of it like that. So you're looking down on this mountainous ridge. And I would do all my normal shading, where I create, say, like an overlay layer and give myself a shader brush. That's not a good shader brush. There we go. And then I could say, okay, here's the shadow on the mountain here, and here's some highlight on the mountain over here, giving myself this three-dimensional mountain. Let's go ahead and erase this stuff over on that side. I'll just hide that, and we'll erase some of this stuff here so that we can show the other object below here. And then I'll just move this over to the side. There we go. So now we have our top-down looking island here, and then the same island from this isometric perspective. And so the things that that may be obvious, but should be pointed out, I think, the big differences here are that anywhere where there was a lot of vertical space, like say this region here, a lot of vertical on the map, it winds up being a smaller vertical space on the compressed, squished island. But anywhere where there was a lot of horizontal space, like the same region here, you have the same amount of space here, because all we've done is compress it in the vertical direction. We've left all the horizontal the same. So this allows you to plan out an island or a continent or whatever, and wind up squishing it into an isometric view and still having everything be where it's supposed to be relative to itself. You'll notice that things like these features on the coastline, everything has this sort of a lot of swing from left to right and very little travel from top to bottom. Whereas over here, it was all sort of equal. There's a certain amount of sort of fractally squiggliness to both the rivers and the coastline that from a top-down perspective should really just wander all over the place. But when it goes to the isometric view, everything has short vertical travel and a lot of horizontal travel. And that's what you're looking for when you're drawing your isometric forests. You're going to have forest, and it's going to have that more horizontal travel, less vertical travel. Now, once you've done this enough times, you just sort of get a feel for how to draw an isometric style island where you can do it kind of just freehand, where it's just sort of programmed in as you practice that you're not going to do a lot of vertical runs that go very far. You're going to do a lot of horizontal wiggle, very little vertical wiggle. And then you're going to have your isometric style mountains, and then your rivers coming off are going to have a lot of horizontal travel and not much vertical travel. So why did I use that shape, that special shape? This shape is something that you don't really need if you're using Photoshop or Illustrator, but the way that it works here is that the square is at 100%, if you will, and the diamond inside has been squished in the vertical direction down to 57%. I don't need an extra point there. 57%. So if you're in Photoshop or Illustrator, you could just take your original drawing and just say, hey, leave the width at 100 and do the height at 57, and it would give you that. And what I did in my process was I just took a square and I squished it into a diamond that's 57% that I set up ahead of time and loaded as a brush. And by transforming it at the same time, I transformed my island at the same time and got an island that looks very isometric, sidelong view. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.